Powered by Riverside.
Hello, and welcome into TheSadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad. And we're bringing back an old segment. We're bringing back what made us sad, and we're bringing back our jackass of the week. And we're going to lean right into it. So, Wes, who was your jackass of the week?
My jackass of the week is David Tepper, the Carolina Panthers owner. In case you missed it, he threw a drink from his suite onto a fan at the game, and he was fined $300,000 for his actions. Now, need I remind you, this guy's a billionaire. He's worth $16 billion.
Oh, Doug Klingman had him at $20.6 billion.
So it's $16 billion. I did the math. The $300,000 fine is the equivalent of fining a millionaire. Someone worth $1 million, $18, an $18 fine.
Dov Kleinman, I think it was Kleinman. He said it was worth 20.6, and he did a similar equation that you did, and it's equivalent to fining the everyday person 77 cents.
Yeah. And also, I was digging into this guy, David Tepper. This guy holds a grudge. Okay, so he started out at Goldman Sachs, and he got passed up for promotion twice while he was at Goldman Sachs. And one of those guys who got promoted over him, now that he's worth billions of dollars, he bought his house, his beachfront property, and then bulldozed it and built a bigger house on top of it. This dude is so petty.
Tiny dick energy. Tiny dick energy. That's what that is, right? Yeah. Like, it's not just pettiness. Like, that's how insecure are you? You've got billions of dollars. You want for nothing except for to, oh my God, somebody was thought to be better than you at one point in time. Yeah. So you must destroy their house. That'll show him.
Right.
Grr, what a tough guy. Bro, you already paid me the money. Like, I'm cool. Like,
I know. Yeah,
I don't care.
Bulldoze it, whatever. Give me that money.
It's yours now. I sold it to you. Hey, like, what was I gonna do with it? I wasn't gonna move back in.
Right.
Now I've got a bigger house than you. Still got a smaller.
Please, sir, can I live on your property? I'll put a tent. No.
Like, it's the old antage when somebody drives by with like this super compensation car. You're like, huh, okay. Yeah. Good for you, buddy. I'm really happy for you.
One of those guys who drives a Lambo but crashes it going around the corner.
You could have anything you want, but you have me living in your head rent free. Way to go.
Right. From like 20 years ago.
So just like this fan is probably still living in David Tepper's head rent free.
Oh yeah.
Because to throw like what the indignance, like what has to happen? What do you think would have to happen to you for you to throw a drink in someone's face?
I mean, I'd have to be really drunk and they'd have to piss me off.
No.
But at the same time...
we've been really drunk together and I've pissed you off and you've never thrown a drink in my face.
Well, it had to be some asshole I really don't know. And he had to be smaller than me.
Small. That's an engineer, folks. Hold on, let me give you a
or you need to be with me.
You're like doing the math in your head. How much support do I have? How much
support does he have? Yeah. How big are his friends? How big are my friends?
It's like you're doing calculus to whether or not you should throw a drink in someone's face. Yeah. Meanwhile, David Tepper, just because he knows, one, he owns the team. Two, he's got his bodyguards. It's funny, too, because...
And three, he's in a press box that guy can't get to.
Well, the funny thing is, it's been reported that the guy in the video that just kind of turns his head and like, it's been reported that that's one of his security guards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy in the video that like, nope, I don't want any part of this. Like, maybe it's one of those situations where I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid enough for this. All right, so that is your jackass of the week. Mine is, of course, Aaron Rodgers. Maybe even Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers for encouraging this behavior, right? And then it's always like that insecure, far...
Why are we talking about Aaron Rodgers? We just talked about him last week.
Oh, so let me inform you. He accused Jimmy Kimmel of being a pedophile on ESPN. And and it was ridiculous
This is new.
because what's that?
This is new to me.
You're just reading this?
I
Yeah.
haven't heard that.
So he accused Jimmy Kimmel of being a pedophile by stating that he guarantees when Epstein's list comes out, which is what a far extremist thing to say. I want to say far right, but it's far right extremist thing to say is I guarantee you Jimmy Kimmel will be on the list of the people that went to Epstein's Island, and insinuating in that statement that he's a pedophile on Disney airwaves because he says this on ESPN. Guess who
What
Jimmy
clown?
Kimmel works for, Wes?
Disney, ABC.
Yeah. What is going on? And then Pat McAfee encouraging this, and I've never gotten Pat McAfee. I don't and can't relate to that. Like, oh, I'm loud and I say stuff that's not really has any meaning to it. There's no substance to what I'm saying, but like, and I'm just like, okay, Pat. Like, I'm happy for you, dude. Like, it took off. You've embraced that far right audience that you have, kind of like Paul Feinbaum, but it's not for me. I don't like him on game day either. I think you do like him on game day, right?
I think he's a good fit on game day.
He breaks up what was kind of a boring show, but
yeah, especially with Lee Corso like getting old. But yeah, like he's like kind of just really like the embodiment of like college frat bro game day weekend party vibe.
That's a great way to describe it. Game day weekend party. And he embraces it, and he says what he needs to say to get the people going. He's Will Ferrell in Old School. It's provocative. It's not. Yeah. It gets the people going.
Yeah, you're 19 or you're like a 20-year-old college dude. You've been drinking since Friday night. You show up like almost blacked out at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday, like, and you're just gonna keep drinking. He's like, he's gonna get you going.
He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you there. What are you gonna date? What are you saying?
You're not gonna fall asleep with him there. If you've been up since like the day before.
Phrasing. Thank you for covering up with if you've been up the day before. You're not gonna fall asleep with him there. Like, I'm glad you said if you've been up.
Get your mind out of the gutter, bro.
All right, so with that, Aaron Rodgers is my jackass of the week. And everyone that followed it and said, look, because Jimmy Kimmel came back and threatened a lawsuit for defamation, right? Of course he did. And the far-right critics and fans and fanatics, not critics, pardon me, fans and fanatics of Aaron Rodgers are like, oh, look, the comedian can't take a joke. And everybody's like, he was very clearly not joking. And how come every time somebody defends themselves to you, they're a snowflake or they can't take a joke? But when you have to defend yourself, you scream and cry and, I don't know, storm the White House, all right? Or storm the Capitol building. Like, get that, grow up. Like, stop this projection that you have going on. And also, Aaron Rodgers is not your hero. He's going to turn on you like he turns on everybody else. Aaron Rodgers thinks of himself as some intellectual. And he thinks he's smarter than everyone else. And he has so much information. And you don't, Aaron. We all have Google. You just went down the wrong rabbit hole. Now, we had some fun stuff happen. Oh, on ESPN, we had the college football playoffs, right? And it was fun. It was 2 really fun games.
Those were awesome games.
And we're going to talk about that. But first, I got to say, one of the funniest things was Stephen A. Smith, after the college football playoffs, having a clip, why the Washington Huskies have a real chance to become the college football national championship. And I read it. I didn't even watch it. I was like, yeah, Steven, they're one of 2 teams, guy. Of course they have a real shot of it. There's 2 teams now.
There's only 2 teams left. Yeah. I don't know, guys. This might be far-fetched, but
they got a real shot.
It's not like Notre Dame going up against Alabama 6 years ago when we all knew Notre Dame was going to get smashed in.
But even that, before the game, they had a shot. They were one of 2 teams. That is the definition of you have a shot. It's the old Dumb and Dumber. You're, probably 1 in a million. So you're telling me there's a chance. All right, so you got to watch both games, Wes. Tell me your thoughts on that Michigan-Alabama game.
First of all, Jalen Milroe sucks. I don't...
But he's the Heisman. Remember we talked about it after the Auburn game? He's the Heisman.
Alabama needs to find a better quarterback. I'm sorry, but the Okay, and their center couldn't even snap it properly.
He entered the
Like,
portal
every other
today.
snap was low. Yeah.
He entered the draft or the portal today.
Good, because he sucks. He reminds me of the Oregon center, our backup center that came in against TCU when we were up 30-0 in the Alamo Bowl, and we ended up blowing it because our backup center couldn't snap it right. He kept snapping it high, snapping it sideways, snapping it into the dirt, and we had like 3 turnovers on snaps. It was ridiculous. He's that bad. And Jalen Milroe sucks. I'm sorry, but that last play in overtime, okay. Actually, I'm just going to rewind it here a little bit.
The snap was not his fault.
So I know, but I knew once it was in overtime, I was like, Alabama's not going to lose because Alabama was getting their ass kicked. The only reason why Alabama was in that game, because Michigan's special teams were a dumpster fire.
Ooh, they tried hard to lose that game. They tried so hard.
They really did.
Could you imagine
they wanted to
fumbled
lose
that ball at the end of regulation on the punt return? It would have been shades of Jim Harbaugh's very first year in Michigan when they played Michigan State. And remember when they played Michigan State and they were beating Michigan State and he fumbles the ball and it gets returned for a touchdown by Michigan State? It would have been shades of that.
Yeah. So as soon as it was going to overtime, I was like, Michigan's going to win because there's no special teams in overtime. You don't need a punt. It just goes back and forth. It's only your offense and your defense. And Michigan's offense was better than Alabama's offense. Their defense was better than their defense. And that last play on 4th down, that was the dumbest play I've ever seen. He literally ran into like a wall of dudes.
No, so pause it.
A QB dive right up the middle.
So that's not the play. That wasn't the play. Okay, it was an RPO. And if you pause it right at the snap, right as the ball hits the ground, he's trying to pick it up, every Alabama wide receiver is wide open in the end zone. Every single one of them, because everyone on Michigan has come up to stop the run. So it was an RPO, and if this could be your argument winner right here, Wes, is saying he's a bad quarterback, right? Is because if he pulls up and doesn't panic, and he runs the RPO, forget about the handoff option, right? And forget about the dive option. If he runs the RPO properly and he looks up to see the receivers instead of panicking and running right up the middle, he had every wide receiver wide open in the end zone. And it's because you have to pause it, though, right there and be like, no, it's an RPO. Look, he's running a slant. He's running a flag route. He's over here running a shallow cross. And it's like all 3 of them wide open in the end zone because every player on Michigan comes up to stop that run. So the RPO worked. It was a great play call. But to your point, Jalen Milroe panics and just runs up the middle.
Yeah. He's terrible. He's garbage. I knew it from the first time I saw him was the Auburn game. And I knew right then and there, I was like, this kid sucks. I mean, he made so many mistakes. He played so terrible that they almost lost to Auburn. And that's why I was like, this team doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Well, you and I chatted about it because I was laughing because after the game, and I don't remember if you had seen this prior to me informing you guys of it on the show or not, but he was yelling, I'm the Heisman, give me the Heisman. And I was like, bro, in this game alone, you threw the ball past the line of scrimmage twice, one of which almost cost you the game because it moved you out of field goal position.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a good game. But Wes, your alma mater, even though you're not the biggest fan, your alma mater, the team that has your house divided, your house is divided over these 2 teams, but one of them made it to the college football championship, and they also did everything they could to give this game to Texas.
Yeah. UW was kicking that ass pretty much all game until like the last 6 minutes of the game. And Texas tried to screw it up too because they fumbled on I think they fumbled on a punt return. Their special teams was just as bad as Michigan. I was like, this is terrible. But then it was with like 45 seconds remaining, I think, like 50 seconds remaining. And Texas didn't have any timeouts. Yeah, the Washington guy got hurt. And the rule states, I guess, that the clock starts on the snap. And so Texas got an extra
seconds.
Yeah, they got an extra like 30, 35 seconds to play with on their drive. And UW's defense just was like decided to take the drive off until like the last 3 plays.
It's that prevent defense. I've never liked the prevent. It's the worst defense because especially in college football, because hey, defensive coordinator, the clock stops on a first down. So if you're running a prevent and you're leaving that whole like 5 to 10 yard area of the field soft, they're just going to keep getting first downs, and then the clock stops in college football every time. And the field, it's only 10 of those plays.
The only time prevent defense works is on Hail Marys. That's the only time you should run it.
It's the worst defense. But in college football, it's like a special demon. Because, again, every first down the clock stops. So all they have to do to stop the clock is move the ball past the marker. And if your defense is soft all the way up to the marker, they're going to get the clock stopped every single play until they get into scoring range. But Texas kind of shat the bed.
Also, what was that play call? I think it was second down when he did like the wheel route and he tossed it off to the running back, the little screen play. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you not throwing it to the end zone? You have 4 shots.
Yeah.
First down, second down, third down, fourth down. All 4 of those should be in the end zone.
But not the fade. I hate the fade. That's such a lack of creativity.
Fade sucks too.
Yeah. In this case, though, I got the fade because he had the matchup he wanted. He had a 6'4" wide receiver on a 5'10" cornerback, and instead of throwing the ball up, he tried to do like a de facto back shoulder fade, right? Which you have your 6'4" receiver not being able to use his full height, maybe trying to body out the cornerback. But he just put the ball in such a rough spot for that wide receiver to get it instead of putting it up in the air.
Well, he did put it up in the air, though. That's the thing, because the cornerback was able to use him as like a stepping
you
stool.
Think it was a push off?
Well, no, but like when he jumped up, like when the UW cornerback jumped up, he like used it to like get some height and just like smack that ball away.
But I think he was able to do that because the ball, like I said, was almost a de facto back shoulder fade. It was towards the sideline too much. Yeah. It wasn't a fade up. I would have loved to see a fade up so that 6'4" wide receiver can body that smaller cornerback and go up and get the ball.
It was a good play by the cornerback, though. But
yeah,
I feel like Texas could have used some better, like some more inspired play calling during that last goal line drive. It was just like it was a little wheel route and then 3 fades. Honestly, I mean, no, but
Washington should have been running the ball the whole time. And you know what else I'm sad about in that game? I really wanted to see what's the Huskies' name? What's your Huskies' name?
Oh, Dubs.
So, yeah, I'm really sad I didn't get to see... Well, first of all, he's become America's favorite mascot on social media. I don't know if you've seen that. Because there's the scene of him in the sunglasses.
He's cute.
Have you seen the scene of him in the sunglasses at the post-game? Just sitting there with his sunglasses on? And then...
he's cute as hell.
They have him running out onto the field with the trainer, and they're like, never has a mascot been more excited for a game.
Right.
And then, but someone captioned that with, I give you the Colorado Buffalo. Because they run out with the Colorado Buffalo onto the field.
That's an awesome mascot too.
Yeah, it's one of the best. It's one of the best starts to a game in all of college football.
Right,
is that mascot running under the big old buffalo, just like
1,000-pound mammal.
Yeah.
Just.
But I was really sad that we didn't get a Bevo versus Dub situation where, like we had with Uga. When Uga was sitting outside Bevo's crate and Bevo said, "I've had enough of this dog," and runs through the crate after.
Imagine if it was Georgia versus UW.
Yeah,
because then you could have the dogs playing with each other.
Yeah, there you go. Uga and Dubs. It was a fun game, but yeah, I do love that both those teams have the live mascots. That again, I'm going to tell you right now, all of you that have an issue with it, I guarantee you those mascots are treated better than 75% of Americans.
Down. So the UW mascot actually lives with the head trainer. And that dude gets treated like royalty.
Yeah, I'm sure he's the stud. You know, jogging around campus. All the kids can't wait to pet him, give him treats.
Dude, seriously. Celebrity.
And he gets to go to games for free.
Yeah.
Field access.
Right.
The other thing
is better than anybody else.
For sure, like I said, better than 75% of Americans. Those dogs. Bevo eats so much fresh cut grass and grain. I guarantee.
Oh, yeah. This is a little pasture.
Yeah, living his best life. He's like, he gets his pick of the litter when it comes to time to make Bevo number 10 or whatever Bevo we're on. Like, Bevo is living it up. Now, with the college football playoffs in the book, do you have a pick for the champion?
I think Michigan takes it.
Okay.
I think
I'm not gonna fight you on it. I think you might be right. I think
it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Michigan's defense is just too good.
Okay, I think in the trenches,
UW has a really good offense. I think it all depends on Penix. Like if
he can
he's
get the ball off.
if he's throwing dimes like he was against Texas, and those receivers are catching everything, seriously, those receivers.
He was Robin Hood shooting the apple.
Those receivers were not dropping anything. Like, it was insane.
I told you when
I was like, these guys could go to Kansas City and catch better than NFL receivers right now.
When we had our argument, you said, God, wasn't that on the commentator? Didn't one of the commentators say what Patrick Mahomes wouldn't give for these wide receivers or something like that?
I think so.
But you and I had this discussion. You're like, Washington is a great football team. I was like, no, they're not great. They're good, but they've got 3 all-world wide receivers. And they really do. Like, their wide receivers are great, capped off by Oduzier, right?
Yeah,
like,
Rome Odunze, I think he's like...
pardon me.
He's 1B in the wide receiver rankings. Like, you got Marvin Harrison, 1A, but really close right behind him is Rome Odunze.
And he got that fade on the sideline at the end of that game in the fourth quarter to get them in field goal range. And that was, one, like you said, Penix, it was a dime. He put that thing on a rope. But Odunze, to look over his shoulder and catch it, like, with the defender trailing him, he's so good. And then he rocked the baby when he went back to the sideline.
The thing is, Penix hasn't been completely consistent this year. He's had some really bad games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think he's done enough to get his team into the championship. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I think he's done just enough. Like that win against Arizona State, you really pointed out. You're like, they're terrible. You're going to see Oregon's going to beat them. Look what they did against Arizona State. I'm like, man, all you got to do is win. The old Vin Diesel quote, right? If it's an inch or a mile, doesn't matter. You got to win.
We didn't win, but we beat Liberty.
You did beat down Liberty. And Bo Nix set a record, right? Did Bo Nix set a record?
Yeah, the most accurate over a college career. Most accurate quarterback over a college career. But, so, it's really annoying that we played Liberty because Liberty was trash. They didn't play a single good team all year. The best team they played was New Mexico State. Like, just looking at the other games, like, Ohio State got curb stomped by Missouri. Like, we should have been playing Ohio State or Missouri. We should have been playing Penn State or Ole Miss. They didn't get shut out, but they scored like 3 points. Yeah, and then Georgia destroyed Florida State, which, like, I'm not going to slam Florida State for that because those players didn't give a rat's ass about that game. Half of them were out, half of them opted out, and the other half, like, just didn't care because they were like, we should be...
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
You should, if you want comedy, go watch Kirby Smart's press conference after that game where he's like, there needs to be something done about this. These players deserve better. They can't be transferring. It's not fair. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Relax.
Another great coach quote was from the Oregon's coach, Dan Lanning. He said, it's not Liberty's fault they had to play us. Like SMU or somebody else would have been a better choice. But
yeah, SMU had a great season and they're going into the ACC next year. So
yeah. But yeah, or I wish Oregon would have played somebody with a pulse. It was frustrating. But it was also funny because I noticed, I'm biased, but the refs were definitely against Liberty in that game, I feel like. It was definitely one-sided because, the whole time I was like, But then I was like, you know what? Screw Liberty. Screw that whole college. I don't care.
Yeah.
I hope the referees hate them too.
Falwell Jr.
Yeah.
That weird pervert.
I hope they suck in football for the rest of life.
For the rest of life.
I was looking at Liberty's rules. So they have school code of conduct. One of them is no acts of affection, which includes kissing anyone, and then you can hold hands, I think. No, you can't hold hands, and hugging is permitted for up to 3 seconds.
How do you monitor that?
Right? Do you have people with binoculars?
Watch.
Yeah.
Stopwatch.
Over 3 seconds. And if you get caught having sex, it's you get 30 points against your record, and I think anything up. Well, so if you collect up to 30 points or above, you can be expelled. It's not like guaranteed you're going to be expelled, but like they'll review your case and they can determine whether or not to expel you.
We can't have this student getting laid when I'm not getting laid.
Yeah, if you're cussing, that's like 5 points against your record.
Oh my goodness gracious!
It's ridiculous. Screw that stupid school.
You said JD. We don't say JD here.
That's 20 points against your record. One more time, you're expelled.
Oh goodness! All right, so we're running low on time. We've got about 4 to 10 minutes left. So the Ravens, you might have been right. That's your Super Bowl pick, right?
I told you they were going to smash Dolphins, and they did.
You did tell me that, and they did. And they didn't just smash the Dolphins. Did it kind of feel like they were rubbing it in there? Like they were like, yeah, take a little bit more of what we got for you.
You don't deserve this.
Yeah, like you say you're the best offense in the NFL. We're going to put up 50 on you.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson was insane. And
he was very good.
While we're on the topic of NFL, apparently Seattle decided to throw a turd. So that's what makes me sad this week.
So this game is now this week. Week 18 matters to Seattle now.
It matters to Seattle. I mean, maybe not, because if Green Bay wins, then Green Bay is in, which makes me so annoying because I freaking hate Green Bay.
Yeah, you guys have had a lot of playoff matches against Green Bay as well over the last 10 years that have been very interesting, or at least while Aaron Rodgers was there. So it'd be one thing to get eliminated by the psychopath Aaron Rodgers, but it's another to get eliminated by Jordan Love, right? So
are the Raiders still in it or no?
No.
They're out?
No, they're out.
Okay. Well, they had a chance last week.
They played last year's stand-in for Derek Carr when Derek Carr got benched. Well, guess what? He's doing it to another veteran quarterback. Right. That's right. Jarrett Stidham is back. And another veteran quarterback is benched for what? You know, let's just see what this Jarrett Stidham guy got. We got it. We know what Jarrett Stidham brings.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for
Russell Wilson.
I feel bad for Russell getting benched. It's kind of screwed up.
Well, Sean Payton never wanted him.
Yeah. He
really
never
wanted Russell. Yeah. He never wanted Russell Wilson. I do believe what I said last year on the show. I think they tried to move Russell Wilson. I do. I think they tried to move Russell Wilson. There were no takers. It probably didn't get any media traction. And then they couldn't move him. So they're like, okay, we got to roll the dice with what we got. And it was probably his contract. He's got a massive contract. And he did his best. And he's just not Sean Payton's guy. And that happens.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think it's just kind of a crappy way to do it. But
if you are playing fantasy football, everyone is resting their starters, just so you know. The Ravens, the 49ers, the Chiefs, everyone's resting their starters. So go into that bargain bin if you have 1 week left in your fantasy football season. You know who else is living a fantasy, Wes? Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is a rock star. Did you see the shot she hit yesterday?
No, I did not.
I posted it in the show's chat, but Caitlin Clark, 73-73, all right, against Michigan State. 0 seconds, or 0.8 seconds left on the clock. Gets a pass, one dribble, sinks a three from the logo to win the game.
Wow.
To win the game. And it wasn't like no backboard, no bank, no rim, just straight swish. It was one of those shots where you heard the net.
Again, she's a generational talent, and she's going to kill it in the WNBA.
Stop calling her a goddess. She's a whole ass god. Okay? She is out there dominating. She is doing things. She brings crowds wherever she goes because she is amazing. Now, you want to talk about the Winter Classic, Wes? Let me give you a couple minutes to talk about the Winter Classic here.
Yeah. The Winter Classic was awesome. I was watching that in between the college football playoff, but the way it was set up was really cool. It was in T-Mobile. It was in T-Mobile Park. And
some of the drone shots from that stadium and the mountain and what is it? Is it McKinley in the background there?
Mount Rainier, yeah.
Mount Rainier in the background. Mount McKinley's Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mount Rainier in the background. Wow.
Awesome.
It was so beautiful at T-Mobile Arena. Like it was.
So nice
pretty.
Weather too.
Yeah.
And the Kraken dominated Vegas, which is good because Vegas has always been a thorn in our side, and currently the Kraken have won 5 straight.
Years. All 3 years we've been around.
They've won 5 straight, 7 of their last 9, and those 2 losses in the last 9 games were overtime losses.
Man.
So they're finally on track, and they're right like right on the cusp of the playoffs, so they might sneak in this year.
Well, Wes, remember, this is what they did last year. last year we didn't think they had a shot at the playoffs. We went to every game the inaugural season. Well, as many games as we could. Pardon me. And every game that I was in town for, we went to.
Yeah.
And it was a rough season, but it was so much fun to watch. And you and I were hopeful. We're like, man, this team is so fun. The fans are so fun. Bowie is so fun. And we were hoping for them to be good. And then the last season started off, the way we thought. They weren't great. And then they went on like a 14-game no-loss streak. And all of a sudden, they were one of the best teams in all of hockey. Okay? And they're doing it again. It might just be who they are. They take a while to get going, but once they get going, watch out. Because Las Vegas, that's the champs. That's the champion. You had the champion come into your state, into T-Mobile Park, right? For the Winter Classic. The biggest, it's like the Field of Dreams game in baseball, but better. Yeah. It is better, by the way. I wish I could have gone. I wish I could have been there. And what a beautiful setting. Marshawn Lynch was there, and then they dominate the champs 3-0. Yeah. Can't beat it, and you can't beat us. We're going to do more stuff. We're going to do more stuff with sports. We're going to do more stuff outside of sports like we talked about today. Whether Wes likes it or not, it is fun to get him going on the Aaron Rodgers stuff. And
I'm done talking about Aaron Rodgers this season.
We'll see. Well, let's just wait and see what he says on Pat McAfee next week when inevitably he's allowed
Unless he calls me a pedophile, I'm done.
And if he does, you're suing his ass too.
Yeah.
Please don't sue us. We are here for your entertainment and your entertainment only. You can reach us at the SadFan Podcast Network on YouTube. You can reach us at the SadFan 12 on TikTok, Instagram, and X. And you can reach us at the SadFan Cast on X. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week after the games.